This week, a special edition of Ebert and Roeper, the movies that make us love our jobs.
We're looking back at the best movies of the year so far.
Show us the boo!
Hey, buddy, you're one gutsy racer.
Oh, hey, Mr. the King.
You got more talent in one lug nut than a lot of cars have got in their whole body.
Really? Oh,
But you're stupid.
Excuse me?
Now, I'm a classic car fan, and the only thing I can't understand about cars is why it doesn't have a starring role for a Studebaker Golden Hawk. Maybe they were afraid it would upstage lightning. What he discovers in Radiator Springs is the disappearing world of Route 66, that legendary highway that wound from Chicago to L.A., passing through Flagstaff, Arizona, and don't forget Winona, and it was a lot more real than the world that Lightning grew up in. Here, Lightning finds a world where winning the Piston Cup is not the most important thing in the world, and maybe he even finds love. Cars is a real charmer. Thumbs up.
It's very endearing that you missed your beloved Studebaker. Maybe Cars 2, a Studebaker's dozen, they could call it. We could take from there. But you know, Roger, there's even genius in the simplicity of the title of this movie. It's Cars. I mean, this is like the perfect Pixar movie. You got cars, you got a great story, you got great voice work, the animation is beautiful. And I'm telling you, I didn't think it was possible to get a little bit choked up watching talking cars have their moment of truth, but that big final scene where certain things happen, I found it really touching. I mean, this is a worthy addition to the great Pixar library. They've hit another home run. I love this movie. I loved it, and it's a lot of fun, and the kids will love it, but it really does have some nice, sweet messages as well.
You got choked up at the end of Cars and didn't like the beagle in Saving Shiloh.
Well, I guess you know, what can I tell you? If it's done
You're a
well,
city boy.
it's done well.
You're a city boy.
I love
like
beagles. I'll put a beagle in a car someday, but I
You like Cars.
This movie is a lot of fun.
Cars
isn't
better
it?
than dog.
Rachel.
I want you to come to Mexico.
What for?
Marry me. Be my wife.
Jones won the Best Actor prize, and Guillermo Arriaga's script won top honors at last year's Cannes Film Festival. I can see why. They have collaborated to create a unique, a memorable, a modern Western. It's playing in limited release. It's definitely worth looking for. Big thumbs up, Roger.
Big thumbs up for me, too. You know, we talked about Peckinpah. This movie did remind me a little bit of Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, and also in its own way, Treasure the Sierra Madre, because it shows these men who live very close to the earth without much of a domestic life and a sense of honor to each other. And Jones is simply so implacable and so unyielding and so determined and so tunnel-visioned, if that's a word, to take this kid down there and teach him, actually, not just to get revenge, but to teach him how profoundly he was wrong.
Well, we get to a point where even though the Barry Pepper character is such a lout that you start wondering if the punishment is now exceeding his crime. I mean, the stuff this guy has to go through. Also, I think in the first half of the film, there's a tone that's very realistic, where we see the lives of this patrolman from Cincinnati and his wife, who's very restless, and the life of people who live along the border there in West Texas. And then when they get to Mexico, it becomes almost like Don Quixote on this fable type of a thing. I mean, it really changes tone.
The small town stuff has a lot of irony involving secret relationships that people don't know about. That's very nice. And then at the end, of course, there's even more irony. And it's not just a revenge story. There's a lot of stuff going on.
One of those journeys you gotta stick to.
Yes, that's right.
So that was Frankie and Johnny, and that's the end of my song. She put a hose in his tailpipe, 'cause he had done her wrong. He was her man, and that's all she wrote.
There's this elegy in the film. It says that something wonderful is coming to an end, and the way to handle that is not to regret it, but to treasure the memories. The program's actual sound man and house band play themselves, and Keeler drives everyone crazy by being so casual he can barely make it to the microphone. And the music and the jokes all work, and the timing between Tomlin and Streep is awesome. Thumbs way up.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you're going to enjoy your cuddling with this movie. I'm giving it thumbs down.
You're not.
I do think,
You're giving this movie thumbs down.
I am giving this movie thumbs down. I'm going to tell you why.
You have the appearance of a human being, but in fact, you are an android.
Well, you're the one cuddling with a movie. I think it has a lot of spirit and style. I think a lot of it has to do with my thumbs down, Roger, to do with the fact that I'm not a fan of a Prairie Home Companion.
Oh, wow.
I've always found it to be a little smug, a little elitist. And you talk about the jokes and the music. Either you like that brand of music and humor or you don't.
Well,
I'm not a huge fan.
all the time.
You do. I'm here for them. And I think if you haven't noticed for the last 6 years, you know, I often leave the room when you get to your third or fourth joke.
Real lost.
You know, Garrison Keillor does a lot of that. You know, this show is brought to you by Johnson Shoe Polish. It's polish for your shoes. I mean,
like
you
it.
either like that or you
I
don't.
like it.
And there must be about 30 songs in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't find them that entertaining.
How about Red River Valley?
How about it?
You're not going to get a better song than that.
It's not for me. I don't enjoy that kind of music. I don't enjoy that
All
kind of
I
humor.
can say is-
Performances are very good, and I will say this. Somebody like Lindsay Lohan, we just saw in a horrible comedy called Just My Luck a couple of weeks ago. She's wonderful here.
Well, I'm going to say
supporting
this.
role.
There are people who love the radio show.
Of course,
and
millions.
and they thought
Millions.
this movie was going to screw it up. It doesn't.
No, well,
if you love
Garrison
the,
Keillor wrote the movie. You know.
if you love the radio show, you're going to love the movie.
Yes.
And I think it's very much an Altman movie as well as a Prairie Home Companion movie.
I like the Altman part of the equation more than the Prairie Home Companion part of the equation. Let's move on.
An android. You're an android.
And we'll be back with more of the best films of the year so far, including some that you may have missed. On this special show, Roger and I are looking back at the best movies of the year so far, and it just so happens we even agree on a couple of these.
2 aircraft hit the World Trade Center. Just left Newark, the weather was beautiful.
We have a plane headed toward the Capitol.
What the hell is wrong out there?
May we engage?
Some of the people involved on the day of 9/11 play themselves in this movie. There are no easily recognizable actors. We're meeting these people for the first time, and United 93 avoids all those cliches where we learn little stories about individual passengers. Nobody is introduced, nobody's explained, nobody is developed. They simply react to the situation. The hijackers are frightened but determined, evoking the name of God, as they certainly must have in real life. The air traffic and military people shown almost in real time, trying to figure out what's happening. The last moments of United 93 don't play like a thriller, and they do not exploit. They simply show ordinary people facing tragedy with bravery. This is an extraordinary film.
You're so right. There's not 1 second of exploitation. You know, Roger, in the last couple of weeks, there's all this talk. Is it too soon for a movie about 9/11? No, the time is right, and Paul Greengrass is the right filmmaker. He pulls this off with such respect and such care. But this is the best movie so far this year. I think it's the most important film. It's tough to sit through at times. Of course, we all know what happened, but I think you mentioned how there's no extraneous stuff. It's basically in real time, the 90-some minutes on that flight, and that serves to put us right there with these other passengers. As you said so well, we don't know that much about them. We've read a lot about some of these people, of course, in real life, but we're just like another passenger on the plane. So, I mean, I just think it is so well done. And you think about the filmmaking process. Think about them doing multiple takes of these intense scenes. I mean, the actors here, including the real people who are, some of them are portraying themselves, do such a good job.
You know, the movie doesn't make any commentary at all about anything. It only knows what anybody could have known at the moment, at that point in the day on 9/11. It doesn't know anything from later. It's never heard of Osama bin Laden and so forth. It's really fascinating how much trouble the military has. First, they get up 2 fighters, but they're not armed.
They're not armed,
A couple other planes head over the ocean for some reason. They finally get planes up over the Capitol 4 minutes after the last flight has crashed. And they keep talking about trying to find the president. We can't get authorization from the president. I don't know about you, but all I could think of was that scene in Fahrenheit 9/11 with Bush.
Of course, because we know,
in
of
the
course, more than
classroom,
these characters know.
doing nothing.
But, you know, it's also interesting, Roger, that, you know, on the plane, here these passengers are, they're in contact with some of their family, and they're telling each other, 2 planes hit the World Trade Center, another plane's been hijacked, and they're getting information, and that's when they decide to act. But the characters on the ground, the air traffic controllers, the military people, the FAA, the guy there, they all make smart decisions with limited or erroneous, incorrect information. I mean, amidst all that chaos that was going on there, a lot of people actually did the right, heroic thing, even if it was deciding not to act in the one case, telling the pilots, don't shoot down any planes. We don't know what's going on.
Because, for example, it turns out that for a long time they thought a Delta flight had been hijacked, and it wasn't.
So we get all that here. This is a great film.
Good movie.
Ever since you found out there was such a thing as the National Spelling Bee, you've seen yourself holding up that trophy, but if you can't say it, you can't win it. So say it.
I want to win.
Say it louder, please.
I want to win.
You want to win what?
I want to win a national spelling.
Tequila's key relationships involve Fishburne as her coach and Bassett as her mother, and they bring a depth to the movie that makes it much more than a teenage story. This movie really surprised me with its emotional impact, and a lot of that is because Keke Palmer makes Tequila a complex and incredibly sympathetic character. Thumbs way up.
I'm with you, Roger. I think Keke Palmer, the fact that she's so young, should not disqualify her from awards consideration. It's
That's right.
that good and that complete, and it's a lead performance. She is the heart of this movie, although everybody's really good. And, you know, it's just such an uplifting film. And, yeah, there are times when it maybe goes a little over the top with the musical montages with everybody helping her up. But I don't care. I was rooting for her as well, and I love the way the whole neighborhood came together. And I like that even the Lawrence Fishburne character, there's more to him than the cliched, stern leader. Yeah. And same thing with Angela Bassett as the mother. Everybody has their moment, has their scene.
She is able, the young girl is able to go to both of these adults and help them because she can see that they need help in a way that she can give. And also what I loved about the movie is it really deals with that culture of hiding your light under a bushel.
Yes.
You know, that she's afraid all the kids in her school will call her a brainiac. And actually, once she begins to get somewhere, she empowers them to applaud her and to envy her and to try to
And she becomes a rock star in the neighborhood. It's great.
It becomes a very good movie. When we come back, more of the best movies of the year so far. On the special edition of Ebert Roeper, Richard and I are listing the best films of the year so far.
You know you can beat a breathalyzer by sucking on activated charcoal tablets.
Really? Maybe we should change our campaign to if you must drink and drive, suck charcoal.
Yeah, but don't the police wonder why you're sucking on charcoal?
There's no law against charcoal.
Yeah. There's a danger in satire of pushing too hard. But Jason Reitman is sly and smart and has an edge, and his actors, including Robert Duvall as the aging czar of the tobacco industry, are in perfect tune.
Roger, I love this film. You know, I remember reading the novel maybe 10 years ago and wondering if they could ever turn it into a movie that would hit all the right notes. Yeah. You're right, satire is so hard to do, but this movie is not afraid to be cheerfully offensive right from the start when Aaron Eckhart is on a talk show with the kid who's got cancer, and he wins the audience over with this impassioned speech in favor of smoking. And you're right, Aaron Eckhart is so good in this performance. Everybody's terrific. The writing is funny, and the directing is top-notch.
And he has such a convincing, honest, sincere way of saying the most outrageous things. For example, we don't want this little cancer patient to die because we'd be losing a customer.
Yeah, and people are going, and they show the audience kind of going, And I
Eckhart,
love,
you know, Eckhart is just right for this material.
He
He's
really
the right
is.
guy
He's
for this
so
stuff.
good. And I love the Merchants of Death. At one point, they get into a fight over which one of them has a tougher job. He's like, oh, what? Alcohol? What? You're killing 12, 13,000 people a year? I do that in a week. I mean, it's just funny stuff. You got to be in the right mood for it. But
great film.
Terrific film.
Okay. Suppose I gave you till Christmas. I suppose you tell me what it is I want from you.
You want me to kill me, brother?
I want you to kill your brother.
As the middle Burns, who was given the chance to atone for his sins by murdering his older brother, Guy Pearce has something of a moral awakening, but it's all relative here. There are no real heroes in the proposition. I thought this was a nearly great film, so thumbs up.
I have the greatest respect for it, too, and thumbs up for me, too. I want to say two things about it. First of all, Danny Houston usually plays kind of a soft or victim kind of character.
Yeah, big bear of a best friend.
And here he shows an entirely different side of his gift, and I think it's fascinating that he's truly scary here. The other thing is there's a novel called Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, which has been called the most violent novel in American literature. And this is the first movie I've seen that suggested to me that Blood Meridian could also be made into a movie because it has some of the same notes, some of the same darkness and ruthless violence.
And you're aware right from the start, Roger, the opening shootout, just the sounds of the bullets and the way they hit flesh, this is a very different kind of violence than we see in something like, for example, Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, yeah, it has a
really intense
sense of time and place and desperation.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Have a look at the color.
I saw the color the last time I looked. It registered.
But it's what I call not white.
Well,
what color would you call it?
I'd concur with not white. I'd go further.
And it's not yellow.
Now, here's a complaint you don't often hear from me. This movie is too short. I wish we had another half hour of Coogan harpooning himself as a self-absorbed bounder. I wish we had more of Kelly MacDonald as Coogan's wife, Jenny, and Naomi Harris as a production assistant, also named Jenny, who seems to be the only person involved with this movie who actually knows anything about the history of movies.
Or who has read the book.
Or has read the book upon which this movie is based. The casual banter between Coogan and Bryden over the closing credits is funnier than almost anything I see in any of the regular comedies, the mainstream comedies that we see week after week. Tristram Shandy is directed with great style and a deft touch by the incredibly versatile Michael Winterbottom, who does so many different films in so many different ways. I give this one a big thumbs up.
For me, too. You know, this movie is kind of like the This Is Spinal Tap of English classic novels.
I like that.
Including the battle scene, which substitutes for Stonehenge.
Yeah, okay.
The movie is about the making of a movie. It's a backstage drama in which people are sleeping with the wrong people and are jealous of each other and have long, long conversations about how yellow their teeth should be to look 17th century while not looking too yellow. And it's very hard to describe. And, you know, well, like everyone, I started to read the novel 30 years ago. I'm still working on it because the novel is about procrastination. And it's very appropriate that this movie, the first movie based on this novel, would also never get around to being about the novel.
That is the genius.
There it is.
And we'll be back to continue this special show right after this. It's the best movies of the year so far, some of which you might not have even heard of.
So when the Mets lose, they just lose. It's a flat feeling. There's nothing there. And the Red Sox. Now here, we have a rich history of really fascinating ways to lose a crucial game.
You don't have to be a fan of the Red Sox or a baseball historian to understand Nicky's agony as he watches the Red Sox lose one of the most heartbreaking games in sports history. But when he hunts down Schwimmer, well, you know what? See Game 6 for yourself. It's one of the best films of the young year.
I totally agree with you about this. The screenplay is by Don DeLillo. It's his first original screenplay. It's based on material he's used before in his novels, especially involving baseball and the craziness of trying to move anywhere in New York traffic, which always leads people into strange
I love that.
psychological confrontations with each other. And Michael Keaton is so smart. He plays smart here. And his relationship with the other characters in the movie is so complex that it's not just, oh, I hope the Red Sox win because then my problems are over. It's about a man whose entire life is on the line.
It is just brilliant in that scene in the bar with all these Mets fans, and they're watching the real footage, and he's with this cab driver who's got her grandson with her, and she's giving him little pieces of philosophy, and he's repeating certain catchphrases. And you're watching it happen, and even though it's a 20-year-old game, it's still tough to watch that ball go through Bill Buckner's legs, and it's such a great meshing of the sports history with these fictional characters.
Really a good movie.
So, where do you live?
I live with my mom right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a matter of money, really.
Oh.
Trying to save up. It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Soderbergh worked with the unknown but surprisingly effective actors to improvise their dialogue, creating hardworking, underpaid people, two still living at home with their parents who lead lives of quiet desperation. See it in theaters if you can. That's the best way to see it, or on cable, or on DVD. Unlike a lot of smaller films, which we get these calls all the time for people saying, I can't see that movie in my state. This one is going to be widely available, and of course, that's the whole point.
Yeah, and that's, first I want to say a word about this whole delivery system controversy. For a film like this, we just mentioned a movie like Junebug that's available on DVD. I say, great. Get it out there on cable, get it out on DVD and in theaters all at the same time. This isn't King Kong coming out on DVD. I think that day, one day, will come when major studio releases come out on DVD and on cable at the same time. People who want to go to theaters will go to theaters. People who are watching on DVD will be glad to have that opportunity.
What could happen right now, you go to see the Rolling Stones at the United Center, you come out, you buy their album in the lobby. I think now people can see a movie.
Play, you can get the soundtrack.
If they like the movie enough, they'll come out, they'll want to buy the DVD.
Now, more to the point, and what's really the important thing here is I agree with you, this is a masterpiece. It's a great film. You have that non-acting acting, which might not work in a different type of movie, but works perfectly here. I mean, these performances are very good. I know people who have lives like this. It's not that different from the town where I grew up in. There's no condescension on Soderbergh's part, like, oh, look at these poor, pathetic people. It's just so devastatingly accurate in portraying these lives and what happens to these people.
That's exactly the way I felt. I mean, these people are just from that area. For example, the actress who plays Martha manages a KFC store. And yet, every moment of every scene involving these actors, and also the local police chief or sheriff, I guess.
The investigator,
who is actually a local investigator. These people are totally convincing. The dialogue is has such a great ear for exactly how people might talk to each other.
Absolutely.
What's going on is not made into false melodrama, but actually develops organically, and we get totally absorbed in this movie, and it's really, really a good film.
Most murders that occur out there, Roger, are more like this one. They're not on the Fox News channel. There aren't, there isn't round-the-clock coverage. It happens just out of one moment. That's all I want to say about this, because I want people to see this film.
Yes. The best movies of the year so far. We'll be back to tell you which of these movies are already available on DVD right after this.
America's #1 value price internet service is only $9.95 a month. Net Zero is easy to use, safe, and reliable. Net Zero. Join the millions.
Don't search all over the internet to find the best deal. Just let your mouse lead you to Motel6.com, and you'll save time and money. Piece of cake, or piece of cheese.
More people are starting their day with new Plum Smart from Sunsweet.
I'm starting.
Plum Smart has fiber and nutrients to help keep your digestive system healthy and in balance. Start smart with Plum Smart.
Pure 80s #1s. 18 awesome #1 hits on one mega CD. In stores now.
Closed captioning for Ebert Roeper is brought to you by
Seprecor, providing peace of mind to patients and physicians alike, is proud to sponsor closed captioning and to help the hearing impaired enjoy this show.
So out of all the movies we've mentioned this week, Bubble, Game 6, and the 3 Burials of Melquiades Estrada are on DVD now. Tristram Shandy will be available July 11th.
That's it for this week's show. Until next week, the balcony is closed.